Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Celtic FC Appreciation Show. It's been a while since we've been on. Been taking a wee break to rebrand the podcast, and we'll be back in the new year. Obviously, tonight we're going to do a 2021 review of Celtic, everything Celtic in 2021. It's been a season of high and lows. It's been a year of high and lows. And joining us tonight on to review Celtic is our good friend Keith from Cmon The Hoops Celtic page. Keith, how you doing, mate?
Happy times. We're going into a big year. It's been fantastic to come back on. So looking forward to having this big discussion tonight.
Right, 2 seconds. Just going to add Keith back in because your sound went a wee bit. Can you hear me now?
That's perfect. Yeah, you should be able to hear me perfect.
No, for some reason I can't hear you.
Hold on. Better now, is it?
Right, 2 seconds. I'm going to try and see if I can do it. Let's see if we can get back in.
Can you hear me now? That's perfect,
Aye, that's it. Aye, so how's it been, mate?
Yeah.
How's your Christmas?
It's been good. It's been obviously topsy-turvy year where everything, stops and going, talks of lockdowns, trying to keep your head focused on the football, keep us distracted, and then working and then doing other stuff Celtic related. But okay, it's a time to just reflect back and say, you know what, I got through this year. I have my mental health. I have my family that are in good health, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's good to get you back on the page. So you can follow us on the socials, guys. It's just search Celtic FC Appreciation all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as well. And Michael, who runs the page for me, is determined to get me onto TikTok. I've been persistent that I'm not getting on it, but we'll see how it goes in 2022. We're available to download the podcast. Is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you download your podcast from. Once again, thanks to 67 Tees, Timberley Apparel for their sponsorship for the page and the podcast. Give them a check out there on Instagram. Some great stuff on there. And as I say, we're live tonight on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you've got a comment or any questions or anything, just fire them into us and we'll get through them. So Keith, we're going to start off with a quiz, a Celtic quiz. I'm going to do the first half at the start of the show, and we'll do the second half later on. So you ready for this? You can write them down, and we'll do the answers at the end if you want.
No, I'll take them in the head. I've been writing too much stuff all day for work, so I'm trying to stay away from that pen. To be honest.
Cool. So first question: who scored Celtic's first goal of 2021?
2021, like the whole calendar year or the start of the season?
Yeah, the whole calendar year, yeah.
2021. Yeah, no problem, yeah.
Right. Question 2, who has received the most yellow cards in all competitions in 2021?
Celtic player or in the league?
In all competitions.
Yeah, no problem, yeah.
Cool. What was Celtic's biggest win this year?
Oh, there's a few of them in there. Yeah, there's a few of them.
Yeah. How many managers have Celtic had in 2021?
Yeah, no problem, yeah.
And question 5, who has scored the most goals in 2021 for Celtic?
Right. So it's the first one, is it?
Yeah.
Are we on for the first question? Are we the first answer for the first question?
Aye, I'll go to the first one. So who scored the first goal of 2021?
I'm going to say David Turnbull against Hibs.
Correct, well done. Good shout. Who has received the most yellow cards in all competitions?
All competitions. I'm going to say Stephen Welch.
No. Captain.
Callum McGregor.
I was actually really surprised at that. I think you'll get this one. What was our biggest win this year?
6-0.
Aye. Can you name I think it's 3 times we've had 6-0s this year. If you can name
Dundee United. No, not Dundee United. Sorry, Dundee FC. St Mirren. 6-0.
Okay, a clue. It was last season. Is the other one?
It was last season.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think. I honestly can't think of it.
Livingston.
Well, that's a season I want to forget about. It's trying to literally take it out of my mind.
Aye. Question 4. How many managers have Celtic had this year?
3.
Ah, well done. I thought I might have tripped you up.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was Neil Lennon, John Kennedy, and Ange Postecoglou. And who scored the most goals in 2021?
I'd say Kyogo or Edward.
Correct. Kyogo. That wasn't bad. Was that 4? Did you get?
4 out of
4 out of
5.
5. Good start. Started well. Yeah. So obviously, it's been a year of highs and lows. I mean, in terms of going to the lowest point, what would you say would be the lowest point for you of 2021 for Celtic?
I think the Livingston game was the lowest. The snowy night in Livingston. Like, I knew, obviously Neil Lennon resigned after Ross County, but I just feel that night, like, Scott Brown went into that press conference saying that the league's not done just yet. There was hope, and we knew that after Dubai, it's just everything was falling to cinders, even with the board, the way they done that meeting, the way Bruni done that press conference on Celtic TV. And then he came off the bench, and within 60 seconds he got sent off. And just the way we conducted ourselves that night, you just knew that the league was low. I think it was more. I think a hope was more when they were confirmed champions. I know we didn't want to obviously lose the title to them on that fixture, but we ended up losing it at Tannadice. I think that hurt us a lot, but like, it's a season that you learn a lot from. I learn a lot where we can bounce back, and like, we could be still talking about this in 10 or 20 years time, saying, okay, this is what happened, these crap players weren't up for it, this manager wasn't up for it, not having the fans in the stadium. It's just, it was the lowest. It just felt like it was a civil war every week on Twitter, Facebook, the whole thing. Like, it's just, I understand we always have football fans that will never be happy about a particular performance of a player, or the goal the way it was scored, or the formation, but it was just literally anti-Lenny, pro-Lenny, and we're known for our support regardless what the result is. But I just felt like there was no hope going into most games. We talked about the 3-3 game back in Aberdeen back in October the previous year of that season, and it was just shocking. It was just the way you knew from there the league was just gubbed. We had the Scottish Cup was the previous season's honour, but it was the only benefit of the whole season that we had. And it was just shocking.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, for me, as you say, for me, I think probably, as you say, losing the league to them, watching them celebrate, and I would say celebrate, wrecking Glasgow, wrecking George Square, and just having to watch him lift that trophy, it hurt. And it's the first time me and you have spoke about this many a time, where we always said, what will it be like when we lose that first cup? What will it be like? And I know we lost the League Cup to eventually St Johnstone, won the League Cup and all the rest of it, but losing that league to Rangers was the sorest point for me. I know there's wee defeats in here, and you can look at the Ross County defeat. I know that was technically 2020, but
the Ross County was Ross County defeat.
That was tough to take.
It was an embarrassment, that portion of so-called fans losing their head over a football result. As I said, there's these social media platforms to get your mind off, and there's no harm emailing the club or fan bases doing stuff like that. But the way we conducted ourselves, that was just animals, absolute animals. Like, I just was embarrassed, absolutely truly embarrassed. But yeah, it was just
like even the crop of players that we brought in, and we were expecting hopes that, like, Barkas was going to be something decent, which he wasn't. Yeti was poor. Sorrow had spells. Sorrow was signed that January before. We were crying for Sorrow. The Bruni coming out saying he's gonna leave the club. It's just everything went wrong. Shane Duffy wasn't at it at all. The abuse he received from fans was absolutely disgusting. Look, I criticised them, but I didn't say nasty things that people did say. But
Yeah,
it's just like, I don't know. We're going into that season now expecting new sponsorship. We're gonna do 10 in a row. Like, it didn't, like, if you said to me 10 years ago we're gonna do 9 titles and a quad treble, I would have laughed at you. I would have said, not a chance in modern day football.
hmm
It's not possible. But even with it wasn't a case that the same manager was there for the 4 years of that quad treble. We went through different managers, and to keep that momentum at hand and get through them scrappy games, even, was unbelievable. Just unbelievable. Like, it's something you're never gonna witness ever again as a Celtic fan. We could go and do a treble, yes, but not treble, treble, and treble. Keep going. But it's just even in Europe, like that Ferencváros game, but it just the dark cloud went into 2021, and you just knew with the boy when you came back from the boy. We were talking about it before when it was announced that there was 13 players, and what annoyed me most was, why was Julian there and he was injured?
yeah.
He was a month injured by then, almost a month
Mm.
injured.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about, obviously we start with January and Dubai Gate, but it was crazy to think that only 2 weeks earlier, not even 2 weeks earlier, probably, that we'd beaten Hearts in the Scottish Cup final, the rearranged Scottish Cup final, to complete a quadruple treble. So we go for the highs of that um to the barrage of abuse that came from all angles, and in my opinion, quite rightly so. I don't believe that we should have went. It doesn't matter whether the government approved it or not. I don't think it was the right time. I know it's worked for us in the past, where we've went to Dubai and we've came back fresh and we've kicked on and won the league. But I think in this at the stage we were at, and um, considering how the league looked and things like that, we went out of the League Cup. I don't think it was the right idea. It was never going to come off well for Celtic. Fans were locked out of the stadium still. We lost 1-0 at Ibrox before we went to Dubai. And obviously you mentioned the COVID cases. Julian really should not have been on that plane. It then forces 13 players and staff out of returning against Hibs, and I think twice against Livy. I don't think we won any of them. I think that when you look back in it, we drew one each with Hibs. We could have won the Hibs game. I remember David Turnbull scored an absolute belter of a free kick,
Free.
and then Hibs equalised late on, followed up by a 0-0 against Livingston, and then
But it was
a
a
two each
replica.
draw. A
It was
two-each
a
draw. I
replica.
think that was the one you were talking about, the snowy night in Livy.
Beaton scored, and I think it was Mohamed Anusi scored as well. But it was just, you knew what was going to happen with Celtic last season, especially with the set pieces, when the likes of any defender gave away. Like Laxall was notorious for it. It's
Hmm
just give away a set piece, the edge of the box. Every team had it sussed out. They knew, like, a corner or set piece that they fancied their chances. Losing to St. Mirren, after 21 years at home, was truly embarrassing. It was absolutely horrendous. And no disrespect to St. Mirren, but you just knew no one feared going to Celtic Park. They knew that because the fans were in there. You were like, well, okay, we can get over them. They're crushing me. They've no confidence anymore. And it just went on and went on. Like, we bring John Joe Kenny in, and people are hoping that this could be the answer for right back. And, Al Hamid left. He left to go back to Israel for personal circumstances. And Jeremy Frimpong wasn't a defender as much as he's a treat
hmm
going forward. And he's doing well in his career at Leverkusen, and we got a good revenue off him as well for the price we bought him for, and you were there when we signed him. Like, but it just got worse and worse. It just felt like, like it's the first time for me watching Celtic where a split left, nothing to look forward to. It was we go back to the year when Robbie Keane was there, the Mowbray season, and then Lennon took over towards the end. But that was the first time you had nothing to look forward to in regards to domestic fixtures. It was awful. It was just, you just wanted it over and done with. You were just like, can we just feel these load of youths and just forget about these games? You would still watch them because you love the hoops, but not having the fans there hurt the most. I think really did hurt the most, because we're all feeling the pain. We're all feeling like, Europa League nights when we were getting smashed home and away, and you feel like, if we had 1,000 in Prague, or we had a full house for this, we would have had a chance. I know.
Yeah.
And football's not without the fans. Have you seen it this season? Like, since the fans got back in the stadium, even though it was pilot allocation at the start, it makes a difference. It makes a difference, especially for the confidence. Ange's talked about, he said he doesn't want to play empty stadiums, and who wants to play in their empty stadium might as well be playing in the backyard. And there is clubs out there that would use this empty stadium as an advantage of clubs that won leagues in empty stadiums.
Yeah.
You've seen it with Dortmund, you've seen it with Liverpool. These players strive off this atmosphere. This is why players sign for clubs like Celtic. They want to play in front of these fans.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, as you say, the difference with the fans in this season, and I know Rangers are 6 points clear in the league, but you almost feel as if we still thrive off having the fans in, and they clearly don't. You clearly see that although they're winning games, the pressure's slightly getting to them at times, and they're scraping over the line and they're getting there. But I think the fans being back in the stadium, full house, and listen, who knows when we'll get the fans back in, because from what I'm hearing over here, Jason Lynch has given it that it possibly might be longer than 3 weeks, the 3 week time schedule.
Well, they could. We had this conversation in the summer. Even if they do 20% allocation, it's Celtic Park is big enough. They should be looking at, like, they're looking at the capacity of the stadium and say, well, okay, you have a 60,000 seater stadium. There's loads of social distance there that we could do. We'll give you 20,000 back.
Yeah,
20,000 spread because around Celtic Park, we can deal with that. But the other problem is, if you give 20,000 back and you have season ticket holders and it's going to a ballot, there's going to be anger, frustration there that you're not going and you're at the paying the money. So I don't know how Celtic and other clubs are going to deal with regards to season tickets. There is talks that, I know Neil Doncaster said, if we can't get the fans back in, we're going to have to look at maybe postponing the league.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can, because we have a World Cup coming up. We have obviously international football as well in the summer, UEFA Nation Leagues games. There's other competitions on. Like, they obviously can't call the league because it needs to be, I think, 60% or 70% of fixtures have to be played anyway before they call a league. But it's not going to be like the likes of where I was 13 points ahead and then we were crowned champions. I think there'd be a bigger dispute there. If it was 10 points, I can understand. And say, well, you know what, 10 points in it. If there was 2 derbies played, perhaps, but there's 3 derbies still to be played. And both teams are on the same end of games. So that's the scenario there. It's just hard to see. As you said, 3 weeks. I'm just hoping that there's going to be something done. And I know Celtic came out and statement and said they're going to try their very best to push for maximum support, because they treasure their fans. Do you know? And just came out. Like Callum McGregor says, he's made a big difference. Like, what hurt me as well about last season, which I haven't mentioned yet, is Brownie's last game. The fans weren't there.
Yeah, I know. I think it almost. I mean, I wasn't at the Aberdeen game a couple of months ago, but I would have loved to have been there at the game just to have seen the reaction that Brownie got. I'd imagine it would have got a really good reaction. I know he got a brilliant reaction coming off. Showed you in the highlights, standing ovation. It's never probably been done at Celtic for any opposing player kind of thing. So maybe Larson at a push. But I think
I think Ronaldinho, was the last one I can remember when he played Barcelona.
Yeah.
But
Aye, as I say, like it doesn't, and it still hurts that Bruni's no there at Celtic, but Callum's filling the position really well. But as I say, going back to way back to February, we saw sort of get ourselves together, 5 wins in spin, which was followed by a defeat to Ross County. As you say, like Neil Lennon leaves his role, 9 years of success. Do you think it felt like 9 years of success for nothing? Or were you pleased with the domination it had in Scottish football?
I think when they won the league, I felt like it was a waste of a season. Not a waste in generally. Like you look at all the matches they won over the space of 9 years. We went on an unbeaten run of nearly 70 games, and we got them other cups as a bonus. So, and other fantastic days in Hampden. It's something that I'm proud of. I'm proud that I support a team that's went on. We won 12 in a row. 12 in a row. You want to look at it as a cup success. Like even when they were confirmed champions, okay, at the end of the day, they were a better team that season. Like they beat us in all the games they played us, except that one all
Yeah.
draw. And our a captain wasn't in it, a manager wasn't in it, the club from the top down to the bottom wasn't in it. Our fans got carried away. People were getting 10 in a row, jerseys done and all. It was just, I think people were like, look, we're going to run away with the league. And I remember me and you were talking about at the start of last season, and you were saying, I think this is going to be 18 points, Keith. And I was like, no, guys, I think it'll be about 12 or 14 points. And look what strange happened. We were proven wrong. And I think one of the lowest parts of the year was when Eddie Howe was all talk of chasing this person, and then it fell apart. And this name emerged on Paddy Power and Postecoglou. I couldn't even pronounce his name at the time. And I'm jumped on the fence. If I don't know this man, I don't know what he's done in the game. And I didn't do my research on him. And I attacked him. I said, look, he's not good enough for Celtic except for that. He's managing the J League. He's managed Australia. This is a job that he 10 times bigger than he's ever taken. And a lot of fans agreed with me. I got a lot of scrutiny from Australian Celtic fans saying, well, look, you need to do your homework, mate. You don't know what you're in for. This is very disrespectful towards a man that, took South Melbourne up to the top of the old A League, won the final, helped Australia get to the Asian Cup. And then I think when he done the press conference, I started to grow a bit on him. When he done his first press conference, he kind of sold it better to the fans that he was looking forward to getting over. He was looking forward. He knew how big the club was. He talked about Tom Rogic. He talked about obviously Viduka. He bring up Socceroos that played for Celtic, Daniel Zanzi as well, and that set me. And then he obviously brought up saying that he watched Celtic when he was younger, mad hours in Australia. Getting up early in the morning to see Celtic play, or in the evening, or even late at night. But I think that took it off me. I was really annoyed with the way the whole Eddie Howe thing out. But you know what? It worked out for the best. It worked out for the best because, look, fair enough, he's at the Newcastle job now, and it's a poison challenge. Regardless who takes the job, the situation they're in at the moment, and it's I don't feel sympathy for him because I think he's asked for a lot in other jobs that he's been linked with. Everything it fell through. Other jobs he's been linked with, and at the time I thought Eddie Howe would have been the best fit for us. But you look the way Ange came in, and I just felt the strings being pulled by the board. It was just Kendi was still there, Strachan was still there, Laptop was still there. It was just you're like, is there anyone in that coaching staff I still want there besides McManus and Steve Woods? The rest of them I just want out. That scout was gone as well. The guy that was at the club, he was gone as well. But it's just you knew
was
when
Nicky Hammond.
Yeah, he was gone.
He's went to Newcastle, funnily enough.
Bruni was gone. We had no captain. We were like in the
Yeah.
summer when this was all confirmed. He looked like we were in a mess. And what you have to give Ange respect about is he's honest and he's not scripted. He's not programmed by the board to say what he's meant to say, like Neil Lennon was last year. And that's
Yeah.
what killed a lot of Celtic fans with Neil Lennon when he started doing this to the media. When he started, he just couldn't. It just felt like it was the same scripted after the defeat. It kept going on the same. You knew what he was going to say. And then towards the Ross County game, when he lost the job, they couldn't even get an interview with the BBC with him because it was that bad of an interview. They didn't want to put it on air. Like,
Yeah.
Celtic TV couldn't even get an interview with him because they actually had to take it from Sky Sports because he was that furious.
Yeah. I think it was. I remember an image this year of Neil. I think it might have been after the Ross County League Cup defeat. When I mean this year, it would have been tail end of last year, and I can remember just seeing him kind of sat against the fencing at Celtic Park. There's nobody else in the stadium, and he's just sat with his arms folded, head down, and I genuinely felt so sorry for him because I thought, here's a guy that's given 20 years of his life to Celtic as a player and a manager, and had some fantastic nights and days for us and gave his heart and soul for the club. And it's all going right for him this season. Listen, we shot ourselves in the foot at every opportunity during the 10 in a row season. And I just felt like
I felt with Neil, like, as much as he's a Celtic to the core, there was more better days with Neil Lennon as a manager than it was bad days. Like, one season should never tarnish your reputation. He could have left early, yes, he could have left early, but you look at the amount of cups he won, look at the amount of leagues he won. He's the first manager / player to go on to win 10 leagues. So people are quick enough to criticise or what went wrong in the end, but they never praise for what he done. He came in when we were going through a Brendan Rodgers shock at the time, an absolute shock to the system that he left. He came in, steered the ship, got the win against Hearts the following day, went on to beat Hibs in the cup in the quarter final at Easter Road. Only a couple of weeks before that, he was the manager there, and then we went on to the treble. He should have left there and then, and he would have always been loved. There's always going to be that portion of fans that are going to still say, "Oh, you cost us 10 in a row, you done this," but they never praise him from when he started winning these trophies for us. When he won a double in 2013, when we beat Barcelona in 2012, people don't realise their memories. They were the best memories of our lives. Like,
as I say, I just wanted them to. I was just, I was kind of pleading inside my head just to go, just walk away, Neil. Just walk away for the good of yourself. No, even forget the fans, forget the club. Just walk away for your own self, for your own health and mind and well-being, because you see in the road it was going down. It was never going to get easier. And obviously, I think it was at the halfway point when we got to January, and there was talking maybe him going and bringing somebody else in, and you could think, listen, we might have brought somebody else in, we might have turned it around, we might have won 10 in a row in the end. I don't think we would have, but with Neil Lennon, that was the problem, because there's always going to be that stubborn part of him that's going to go, if I walk away and somebody else comes in and wins 10 in a row, I'll never forgive myself. I'll always kick myself. So, but sometimes you've got to put the club above your own kind of personal choices. But just in terms of then we're going to March and April and more drop points to Dundee United and Rangers. We lost in the Scottish Cup at Ibrox, but then you beat Livy and draw with Aberdeen. So there was no kind of win-win-win situation. There was no continuity, is the word I'm trying to think of. It was just like, as you say, you were watching the games, but no enjoying them. You were just watching them because it was Celtic.
And you were locked in your gaff, and you had nothing else to do. But
absolutely.
We won at Kilmarnock. I remember we won at Kilmarnock, and it was just like, is there even point of celebrating this? It's just a win.
It just felt like nothing.
It's second place, and that's it. Like, but it was just, second place in Glasgow it's not acceptable. And if it was a case that we lost the league on the last day of the season, or it was 2 or 3 games to go, I would have been like, you know what? Fair enough, we had a good crack. It was just embarrassing. It was truly embarrassing. And you think for the club, when the fans are not in, you think, look, we need to win this league. They've been singing for this for 10 odd years. We need to go out there. We have the squad, we have the mentality. And it just went from Ballagoli to the boy to Libby to the Ross County League Cup defeat, then St. Johnston. It just got worse and worse. And, it's just a case that you kept saying to yourself, look, fans have been through worse in the 90s, but, modern day football, it's a different generation of fans. And, it's always high pressure Celtic, regardless win, lose or draw. It's always like a big cup final. And you have to get the points, or you have to get the win to get in the next round. And if it's the case that you get embarrassed in your home ground by a team that's maybe second last in the league, and they're winning 2-1 or 2-0, or you're just like, do we even deserve second place the way we played this season? That's what I was saying to myself. But I'm glad it was over and done with. It was hard. Obviously, it was hard for about 6 or 7 weeks when they were confirmed champions, and then I was like, look, let's get a manager in and let's start clearing out the deadwoods. That was the biggest focus. But you give it to Ange. He's cleared out a lot of players over the summer. As far as I know, 14 players went. He brought 12 in that window, and we obviously have a new window now. But you see the players he brought in. Some of them feel like they are deadwood. I know Shaw and Urigidi were kind of pre-agreed deals beforehand. Well, Urigidi was pre-agreed, but he came in under the Ange regime. But you're saying now, who's actually going to play for Ange and who's going to go out on loan? I can't see Shaw get much football. It's like I can see him going on loan, maybe a Kilmarnock or maybe a tier below, just to give him first team football.
Right.
But it's really has been a roller coaster 12 months. You look at the 4-6 months to grey days now to the second half of the year, and it went quick. The fixtures came in quick and fast. When you go back to the first pre-season, he was the captain and he scored, and then Moffat scored as well, and then we drew Bristol, and then we went on and played Midtjylland. You've seen things were starting to get back to normal with the fans being brought back in, and we messed up our Champions League. Look, I'll be honest with you, we were never with that crop of players with the rebuild. We were never going to get into the Champions League, and it was a good bash out,
Yeah, I think that we're both in agreement that unless you're getting an automatic qualification for Champions League, Europa League is a level, and it's going to be for a while until we start to build a team that's going to be good enough to continuously play in the Champions League in the top competition. Obviously, we talk about players and that left, like Bruni at the end of the season, and you look at it. Peter Lowell obviously left his role. Don Mackay stepped in, and then stepped out. Again, we're so many months on, and still nobody's told us what's actually happened with Don Mackay. We're not going to get told, obviously. Obviously,
it might take 10 years, like the Neil Lennon, Annie McCoy's shift. It might take 10 years to find out.
I'm still no buying that. About what Tomo was saying, I'm still sceptical about it, to be honest. I think it was more in it than what's been let on. But Peter Lowell, obviously, a lot of time in the club. He done good for the club, and he also done bad in the eyes of the fans. Do you think he's still mixing it in the background, or do you think he's out the picture?
100%. I think, well, obviously Nicholson was there before he took the acting chief executive. Now he's the chief executive. I think Lawwell was a part of his appointment back about, I think he's been at the club since 2015. Lawwell, Celtic were in debt back in 2003 when he took over, and he got us up to 30 or 40 million in profit most seasons from 2012 onwards. You got to think in that as a business perspective, but engaging with the fans, Didn't do enough of it. Didn't do enough of it. You heard previous stories with AGMs, and I talked about the parks, at Hamilton this week, and someone was saying on the channel that they've thrown this conversation at them about changing the buses. And I know a lot of people are like, look, get over it, it's a bus, whatever. But Lawwell just laughed at it. I know there's more people look at it in the business perspective, just we could be putting money into different things. But Lawwell was supposed to be the part of this project where we're building this hotel and getting a new training ground, and where this is all being stalled. I don't know if it's down to COVID, or is a case that the club are looking to just basically keep the finances in case there's going to be another lockdown, and we're in this scenario where the fans might not be in past the 17th. We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, okay,
No.
Lawwell, he's taking gambles. You bring Brendan in, him and Desmond bring Brendan in. Brendan done the job, got us two trebles. He left in financial circumstances, it benefit the club. But there's players that we missed out with under the Lawwell regime, like Ivan Toney, John McGinn. These are players that we could have taken under our wing, and we could have sold for big bucks as well as a business. Look at John McGinn would have been a prime example. Now we weren't willing to pay the extra 500 grand to get McGinn from Hibs, and it's just truly embarrassing. And he's been a wonder for Villa, for the last 3 years he's played there. And Ivan Toney, we've talked about a lot of times and on different streams. He's a treat to watch in the Premier League. This is a guy that was boss in League 1 2 years ago. Now he's scored in the Premier League.
That's the thing. My opinions on Ivan Toney. It was he could have been potentially. I think if we'd got Ivan Toney in and was it kept Fraser Forster? I think I was saying at the time. I think that would have been 10 in a row, pretty much wrapped up. So I think at the back, he would have kept it the goals, and Toney would have banged him in at the front, and that would have helped us deliver 10 in a row. But they weren't keen on him to do Neil Lennon. They weren't keen on him at Lennoxtown. Make it that way you will. But as I say, Eddie Howe was mentioned, and obviously he's now at Newcastle. He's finally found a job. As I say, I had Scott McIntyre, an Australian journalist, on at the start of the season before the ball was kicked in, and I can always remember, I'll always remember, for no matter what happens for the rest of the season, whether we win the league or not, I'll always remember the words he says to me. Ange Postecoglou is nobody's second choice. He says, I know a lot of the fans were purring after Eddie Howe and really wanting Eddie Howe in because he's probably more familiar. They knew him a lot better and what he delivered at Bournemouth. He says, but mark my words, he says, Ange Postecoglou is nobody's second choice. And listen, Celtic fans have taken him to their heart already, and even before we'd lifted the trophy there, it's incredible to think that a manager who's came in and not actually won a trophy had so much love and support from the fans. Looking back, I don't think I've ever known a manager to have been so loved straight away.
I think that iconic picture of Midtjylland when he comes out and he has the Celtic top on and he's navy slacks on, you want to call them, and he's just doing the hand in the air. I think that's sold it to me. And then when we lost to Midtjylland away, and he was like, "Be careful what you say. Be careful with your words. This is not a catastrophic result or season. It's only starting." And he attacked. Yeah. He went after the BBC. I think what warms me about Ange is, I know a lot of, obviously the fans get to see him more on a weekly basis after games, and he's going over and he's doing what he can, does the whole thing. I think it's the press conferences, the way he does not shy away. He is blunt. He doesn't, the only time he kind of goes a bit off the radar is when it comes to COVID questions. He doesn't like that. But when it comes to players and he's straight. He's like, look, I'm not changing my formation for any team. I'm staying the way I'm playing my system, and that's it. It's his way or the highway, and I like about him, and he can, the way he valued the club. He went to one of the Tommy Burns nights. He's good with the fans. It's just, it feels like feels like he's been here for more like 6 years, not 6 months, and that's what I like about him. As I said, I was one of them. I jumped on it and I was like, "Who the hell is this guy? He is not good enough for the job." And then I was like, "Look, we're gonna have to accept it. He's in the door. Give him a crack. It's a rebuild season, regardless who we get." I don't know if I'm just being stubborn. I'm expecting to win the league back because there's a Champions League spot behind it, and that's why we're getting on. I just hate change. But when he lost the first game against Hearts, I felt really sorry for him because he was only getting used to the squad. There was players out. Then losing the Rangers, he got tactically wrong that day. And he put his hand up in the middle. He got it wrong. When we got beaten to Livy, I don't think it was his fault. I just think the team were just frustrated. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. I think then you look back at when we could have beaten Livy to capitalise the league, and he bring it up in a podcast in Australian radio. So I was saying, look, I understand the importance of this job. If I didn't have the confidence, I wouldn't take the job. This is the difference between Eddie Howe and Ange. Eddie Howe wasn't willing to come up to Glasgow and take the trip from Bournemouth, but you got a man that's gone from the other side of the world to take the job without his coaching staff, and that's what you call dedication. That's how you look at the bigger aspect. This is a man that has a long-term plan. He's on a rolling contract, and when he won that cup, I was like, "There's no way he is leaving at the end of this season. If it falls apart, he's still going to be there, and fans will still back him."
Yeah, and I think somebody needs to contact the Oxford English Dictionary to re-establish the word mate, because it's such a funny put down now when you hear them saying mate to anybody, because it's not a term of endearment. It's a question kind of thing, because I remember Luke Shanley getting torn to pieces after the Hearts game, first game of the season, and Luke Shanley thought it was being clever and thought, "Oh, the new guy, I'll try and be a bit controversial." And he says, "Oh, are you under pressure? You've started repeating some of your answers." He says, "Well, ask me the same questions, mate. I'll give you the same answers." I was just like, that was absolutely class. That's the moment the Celtic fans were like, yes. That's the moment fans were like, yes. Because, listen, when you look at that game, we should have actually went 2-1 up. We got a perfectly good goal disallowed. I think I'm right in saying it was Bobby Madden that was the referee. Need I say more? But you look at the players he's obviously brought in. You look at like Sir Joe Hart, Carl Starfelt, Kyogo, Abada, and even turning Carter Vickers, and you see him turning around players' careers like Anthony Ralston. Do you know what I mean? And by the way, I think he turned Barkas into a bit of a keeper, and he looked a bit more confident last week against St Johnstone. He seems to have learned how to catch a ball now. So who knows? But Joe Hart was the one that pleased me, I think, most, because I thought
experience and leadership. That's what we were lacking going into this season with Bruni leaving as well.
I think when you look at, I think it was, if I'm right in saying, one of the European games at Celtic Park, and there was a stoppage in play, and Hart ran over to the touchline to get a bit of paper to then instruct his other teammates, and you're like, that's class. That's what you want to your keeper. And he just looks so calm and so composed, and he's made some massive saves for us both in Europe and in the league. So, obviously in terms of, you look at it, obviously 6 wins in the spin in August, 2 defeats away to Alkmaar and Rangers. As you say, he put his hands up and after the Rangers game and says, "Listen, should I play Kyogo through the middle?" As if to go, it won't happen again. And that's fair enough, because, listen, what we've kind of become accustomed to losing to Rangers is not nice as it is. But at least he's came out and said, because would any other manager have came out and said, "Listen, it's my fault. I should have played Kyogo through the middle. I didn't. Dust ourselves down, we'll get on with it." There's no panic in his voice. It's like, it's one game. we've no lost the league on it. It's one of the games, but I think when you look at the difference in Europe as well away from home, I think we were really unlucky not to go through in the group this year.
100%. Like there was teams that finished on 8 points that got through in some groups, which was frustrating. It just, I think even the way we played against Leverkusen, away, like Betis was a big example. I know Betis, we lost the game, but the first 30 minutes of that football was just, that was Celtic that I haven't seen in a long, long time. You know, taking the game to the teams away in Europe, like it's been a while long. You're going back to like maybe Celtic and Ajax back in the NTL days. That's what you're looking at, like.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, you look at the Ferencváros game as well, and I think that was the one you were at, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, the home one.
At Celtic Park, there was the Tuesday afternoon, randomly. But obviously that goal, we were talking about Kyogo's goal, and I was saying you will not find a better goal this week in Europe, in all the European games that you watch. It will not be a better goal, and obviously UEFA awarded it the best goal in the group stage in the Europa League, which was incredible.
It's just a Jota ball, that angle, the way he done it. It's just
absolutely sexy.
I think the difference between the likes of Neil Lennon and Angie is the players he's bringing in, majority of the players he's brought in, they get Celtic. Like you're talking about Joe Hart. Joe Hart knew Celtic because he played there a couple of times. He was good friends of Fraser. He always talked about Fraser, his career Celtic. Kyogo gets Celtic. He's still working socks to play every weekend, though he's not fully fit. That's a player that you want. You want someone that wants to play for the badge. Joe Hart is one of them. Ralston is like a new signing. Like who would have thought Anthony Ralston be the answer for right back? I know we bring Jovanovic in, and I just feel with Jovanovic, I think Jovanovic overtries sometimes. I think he's more of a showboater than an actual just doing the basic things.
I think he's crossing. His final ball needs working on big time. If he can sort that out, then
he's a solid defender.
An absolute gem of a player. Oh, he's class. He's class, and what I noticed this year in the Europa League as well is the fact that listen, I know we need to stop shipping goals, but we're scoring goals, and that's the difference. And I think it's the difference of having European quality players like Kyogo, like Abada, like Jota, players like that. Do you know what I mean? That in Joe Hart, his quality and his experience. I think having players like that, you can see the difference in the way we're playing. And obviously, the Betis game was crazy. The Leverkusen game was crazy because it was games that you were going into and thinking.
I mean, we're getting especially 4-5-0.
You're thinking keep the score down as much as possible. I actually remember saying that before the Betis game. If we can keep it down to a 1 or 2-0 defeat, I'll be happy. I think we should have went 3-0 up after in the first half or something, which was crazy.
Fantastic Jota's debut, but it's just you're going to see with Jota, he gets Celtic. Even the way he spoke, his first press conference, like these are lads that are talking about childhood stories of having a Celtic scarf or seeing Celtic play. They know what the crack is. They know that this is a big season. They just need to go out there, get a result by result, and stop thinking too far into it. Like, I just think fans get carried away when they think of, the derby's around the corner, we need this. But look, I'm sorry, no disrespect, but you have to put what's in front of you that week. Stop thinking of the derby, because you have to analyse how we play that week, who's going to be fit. I think it's just a modern day world now. You can't think far ahead. You just got to think on a daily basis. And that's what Ange said. Mate, I don't think that far. I don't, he says the exact words, I don't think that far ahead, man. It's a struggle to even get through weeks. Never mind thinking of months away. But he's taking a heart to me, and he's a phenomenal man. And you know what? I was so happy for him. I really was so happy for him. And even after the press conference, he said, I'm struggling to even give words for this. And he's like, we're all writing me off in December now, and look at now. He's basically hitting back at the criticism. He's hitting back at the media. He's like, you know what? I deal with you on a weekly basis, but yes, he's a slow enough to write in the papers or correspond about me saying that I dropped this point and that point. Hold on a second. I think Celtic fans can accept that points will be dropped this season, and we're not going to go. We're not the. it's impossible to go unbeaten. Like, we've done it once for a season and a half, but it's a change of style. You got COVID playing its part against us. We got fans not in the stadium. You got also, I know we should be thinking about our own games, but you also got referees that are not officiating the games right. Like, it was the Aberdeen game. I think it was the Aberdeen game. What's his name? Archie. Not Archie something. I'm trying to think of his name. Shocking referee. No, it wasn't Clancy. It wasn't Bobby Madden. It wasn't Colin. This guy is one of the worst referees. So basically, David Turnbull took about to take a corner, and Taylor left the ball, and he rolled the ball to David Turnbull for the corner, and he said, "Well, that's you taking the corner. That shouldn't be a corner." It's like, "No, I'm rolling the ball to him so he can take the corner." He made him retake the corner. Like, it's just the referee decisions in the Scottish game this season. It just shows how bad it is, how corrupt it is.
Yeah.
And you're looking at teams that are getting rewarded like 7 penalties, 9 penalties.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, it's only halfway through a season, like, and you're like, what's going on here? But all we need to do is focus on ourselves, take every opposition like it's a cup final, like, to get to Hampden and play a good. Hibs were going. Hibs needed a result. They wanted to obviously bounce back from the Jack Ross disaster, and Kyogo, like, them 2 goals. Just
out of this world. Out of this world.
You look back at it now. I looked back to the next day, and I watched it 3 or 4 times, the goals, and then you see the fans singing "Never Walk Alone." Like, you just feel the good times are coming back. You know, they're coming back, and he has I'd say 90% of the fans behind him now. You know, there's always going to be doubters in there in the fan, and you can't make happy, but he sold it. I start getting this feeling since the end of September that, you know what, I think we actually can challenge for this league. It's not. It wasn't down to beating the likes of St Mirren or Dundee 6-0 or anything like that. It was just down to, you could see it in the players. You could see in the players that they just want to enjoy the football, and they're just scoring for fun now. Yeah,
and I think when you look at it as well, I can remember it was obviously the League Cup final there that Rory Hamilton, I'll never forget the quote. They took a break last season, but they're back winning trophies, and I just love that line. I just love that line that we took a break, as if, you know, we're winning too many trophies. We wanted a year out, and to give somebody else a chance, and it felt good to be winning the League Cup again, because I can remember when we got to, obviously gets to the semi-final, after beating Hearts and Raith Rovers in previous rounds, you know, you get to the semi-final against the holders, St John's at Hampden. Very, very tough game, as it proved to be. We potentially should have been out of sight in the first half. The dominant play that we had in that semi-final, you know, it should have been outside, but usual Celtic, they make you wait for it, and James Forrest pops up with a winner. Great to see him back. But for me, when you talk about Kyogo's 2 goals, we're talking about world-class goals, Larson-esque. For me, and I say this to a guy the next day, I says, for me, the second goal hasn't won us the final. The equaliser has won us the final. You know, that ball for Callum
60
McGregor.
seconds.
Aye, the ball for Callum McGregor outside the foot into Kyogo, the touch to kill it dead and just fire it in the bottom corner. I just think to score so quickly after his, because I think if we'd went 5 or 10 minutes in between the goals, I don't know if we would have scored. I think Hibs would have just got deeper and deeper, and it might have become one of these situations that we've been in a lot this season where we can't break teams down. So getting a goal right away, it fired the crowd up, it fired the players up, and you know, I think it was our great Paul McGinn, after the game. I know he was hurting, but listen, I believe it was enough to be a free kick, and he's going on about, you're ready to make a sub. The board was up. Well, A, the board wasn't up, and B, Scott Allen wasn't even stripped yet. So
yeah, he was only taking his top off. Only his top off.
So that's I don't know what play he was looking at, ready to come on, but it was just so great, and I was delighted to see Ange smiling. So I think it's possibly the first time I've actually seen him ear to ear, absolutely beaming. And I love the fact that Callum McGregor shouted him over
Say, come
to
here,
lift the
boss.
trophy.
Come over, boss.
Aye, aye, and you could tell he was a bit reluctant, but he enjoyed the moment. I thought that was class. That was a captain's moment. That felt like a captain's moment.
That's the thing about Ange. He's not a. He's just professional at what he does. Doesn't want to be your pal. He just wants to go out there, pull the hard work off. And everyone that he's worked with says that he's not that type of person that you want to be on the plane with, sitting beside. White ways when I talk to you. He's not socially good, but he has these lads as a unit. As you said, if something goes wrong, I give them responsibility to go past them lines and do the job. If they don't do it, I'll pick up for them. And that's how you know he just has it. Like, he always goes back to his dad, saying he always wants to. His dad always criticised him when something went good. He always got to saying you could have done this better than that. And that's the mentality that's programmed in his head. He just wants to go out and just prove to these fans that, you know what, I'm doing my best and I'm going to try win this league for you. He wins the league. My God, I'm telling you, it's going to be as good.
I think they might build him a statue. I think they might build him a statue, to be honest, because it would be an incredible feat. When you look at that team.
Like, imagine if we got some sort of allocation back at Ibrox and we beat them in the last fixture to clinch the league and Ange going off to that corner. That'd just be the clinical point of the season. It'd be just him going over and doing it. And obviously, if the weather be warmer, he won't be wearing the penguin jacket, I call it. He'd be going over with the zipper on and doing the Ronnie. He was closer than the Ronnie a few weeks ago. But I just like him. You know what? He comes from a different.
He's so likable. He's so likable.
Comes from a different culture. He dresses well. He presents himself well, and the fans love him, and the players love him. You've seen the bond he has with Kyogo, and like to change Anthony Ralston's career around. That's a story in itself. Like, because you're looking back to last season, and they done the awards of most improved player and most goal, and we're all voting Sorrow and voting Neuer and all. That was truly embarrassing when you look back at it now.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, I don't think there should have been a Players Awards last season. Absolutely not. I just don't believe. Listen, you can give players private awards, but I don't think it's that well with a lot of fans. Because we were kind of like, it felt just like, okay, we're going through the mill. But going back to that Livingston game where we dropped points, we drew 0-0, and Oberlai gives the penalty away, rather comically, slaps Kyogo in the back of the head. Kyogo goes down in stages. He's like Bambi and Ice. But at the end of the day, it is a penalty. It doesn't matter how he's went down. And obviously, we've been through this before, with the whole John Suter incident. And he's been obviously kind of got a bit of abuse for the John Suter incident. When you see the John Suter incident again, Suter walks over and grabs his stomach.
And because marks and all after as well.
I was there that night. I was down that end of the ground in the north stand where it kind of happened, but obviously it was too high up to see. But I remember Kyogo kind of walking away from Suter and going back to the ref and lifting his top up and showing him something. Obviously you couldn't see from the stands, but obviously when you see it back that night and you're like, well, he's clearly pinched him or whatever, and it might be minimal, but at the end of the day, it's still shouldn't be allowed.
We won't be having that anymore with Maida. Maida won't take that off. This Maida guy is he looks like he'll just take players on. That's what we need. We need a badass, and I think could be one of them players. But you're right with Kyogo. Kyogo does get bullied, and certain clubs fans are saying, "Oh, he's dives this." Hold on a second, dive. How many penalties have you been awarded this season for diving? For pressure on you, But I didn't like when we dropped points to Dundee United and Livy in September and October. I was saying to myself, okay, points are going to be dropped, and that's the way it is. And I just, even when Aberdeen went to Ibrox and got the points there, and then I didn't like you go back to this run where we beat Aberdeen away, Motherwell away, Dundee United away, Hibs away. We haven't beaten Hibs away since 2013 in the league. So things are going right. Things are going right. It's only 6 points. Like we've talked about this many times, where the great comeback of 2008. Like it can be done.
Aye, and that was 7. I think that was 7 points, if I'm right in saying, in 2008.
1 point, there was at 9 points.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was really, really angry. I remember I was on my way to work, and I kept checking the score. And saying, just score. It doesn't matter who. It doesn't matter who. And I seen that Livy had got a man sent off in the 90th minute, and said, "Surely it's a penalty. Tell me it's a penalty." And then obviously it came up that Giakoumakis missed the penalty. And I was so angry because at that stage it would have put us, I think, a point or two clear of them at the league. Obviously, they had to go to Fir Park the next day on Sunday. But it would have meant going top of the league for the first time this season. It would have meant that the pressure was then on them, and obviously they did lose. They went behind at Fir Park the next day. Obviously, won
steamrolled it out.
Yeah, steamrolled it. But at the end of the day, it's psychological. It's your rivals going top of the league and saying we're here. Now all of a sudden we're 6 points behind, and it just feels like obviously losing, dropping more points there. It's so deflating. It's so like it feels like one or two steps forward, 4 steps back. It doesn't feel quite like we're going forward. I know we've won the League Cup, and I know we're heading in the right direction, but it just feels like we can't seem to get near them no matter what we do.
100% agree with you. It just feels like, like even with that Levy thing, I don't know why Giakoumakis, I know he's trying to get his confidence up because he's only to get coming from injury. But Jovanovic was scored 2 penalties prior to that. You should have just let Jovanovic on it. There's no point changing it if it's not broken. Don't change it. Like if Jovanovic missed the penalty, fair enough. Like I just feel like, no messing around. Whoever wins the penalty, just give it to Jovanovic. If Jovanovic is not on the pitch, you say to yourself, right, can Cal do it? Cal's done it a few times. Cal needs to step up as a leader and bang a goal in. And that's the way it is. Simple as that. Like Kyogo do it, but you know what? I just feel when it comes to Kyogo and penalties, I wouldn't feel comfortable in it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, Kyogo will
I thought for me, I thought for me it was an excuse by the manager. I thought it was a total excuse because for me, how can you come out and say that Giakoumakis is your designated penalty taker when he's not even been on the park? He's hardly played any games. So I don't know how you can say he's a. For me, if Juranovic takes 2 and scores 2, then he's your penalty taker. I think he obviously scored 3 out of 3 because of the goal in the Leverkusen game. That audacious, the audacious dink in the middle, the Panenka. But Callum can hit a penalty, and I think as captain in that situation, you've got to read the game and go. You either take the ball and give it to Giakoumakis, or you take the ball and take it yourself, or you give it to Juranovic. You've got to make a decision on the day. And maybe it felt. I think the club, the fans, the players, felt like they wanted to give it to Giakoumakis to get him a goal. It very much felt like a Dembele moment, where remember when Dembele was struggling at first and he scored the last minute penalty in the European qualifiers to take us through. It felt like that moment, and it was a poor penalty. It was a really, really poor penalty from.
But it was kind of like when we played Rangers in the Scottish Cup semi-final, and then Dembele already scored against them. As far as I know, he scored a penalty, and he just kept the ball to the champ. He said, "Take that penalty." Obviously, the champ scored and all, but that's like these are the things that we need to get right. And like we might look back at this now at the end of the season and say, well, that crucial stoppage time penalty that was missed could have helped us win the league. It'll all rack up, but I'm confident, guys. I really am. I just think, with today's news and with Julian coming back, and perhaps, getting Jota back soon. And like, these are the players that we can, like, you have Julian on the pitch, it's a leader. It's a leader right there. It's a player, like, Oyer was a leader. And that's what I'm missing at the back. Him and Carter Vickers. Look at Starfelt, he's had some good performances, he's had some lame performances, but I think a lot of people are very harsh on him. I don't feel comfortable with Starfelt bringing the ball from the back, personally. I think he's ropey passing the ball between centre backs. I just think he needs to do the simple things, get his head on it, get the straight pass in front of you, and that's it. Because you look back to what game was it? I can't even think what game it was where he gave the ball away and they scored. It was only recently, kind of think he was meant to give the ball to Rodgers and he's just they end up scoring from it. It was actually St. Johnston where he tried to pass the ball to Rodgers and they scored the header. Look, there was no save. Right, but like, I just think he's missing that. I just think he's missing that Julian beside him saying, "Look, you take it on. Believe you can take the ball up." He's missing that. And that's what Oyer had. Oyer had that confidence with Julian and be like, you know what, I'll take the ball up. I'll take a run at this because I know that someone's there beside me. And Evie felt that with Welch. And that's what I'm missing. You see the difference now with Beaton. When Beaton's playing defensive midfield, the other day he was taking balls up like he was wanted to hit, like into Tom Rodgers' position,
Yeah.
And he got a goal from, but it's having that confidence, and that's what we're missing. Like, we get Julian back, we can have that extra defender pushing up for that goal, for that winner. And that Ross County winner for Ralston, that's a massive part of the season. Like, if we could look back and say, do you know what? That was like the Kilmarnock winner.
Yeah.
That was like the Hamilton winner. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
you literally took the words out of my mouth, because I was just about to say, when you were saying about the dropped points against Liverpool United, and you look back on it and say that could have helped us. I was just about to say that the Ralston winner against Ross County could be the game that you look back on, and hopefully it will be, and hopefully we'll look back and go, that was a game.
To be honest, see when the sending off happened, and it wasn't not a sending off, but the two
diabolical refereeing.
You get busted, your mouth open, you're going to go down. Simple as that. You don't want to be on the pitch. And I think it was the 82nd minute, and I turned around and I said to Siobhan, I was like, you know what? I was like, if we don't score here, the league is done. The league is completely done. And she's like, you're crazy. I was like, no, we need to beat teams like this away, and it's no excuse. And then we got that goal. I was like, you know what? It's like the Hibs result. We can do it. We can actually do it. I just think this season, if we have our fans back in on the 17th, we'll be Hibs. It's going to be tough. Sean Maloney's on a run with Hibs.
Yeah.
He's won his first 2 games. I'm delighted he's after getting the job. I think obviously
absolutely. He's
massive experience under working with Martinez. He's been doing coaching even when he was at Wigan, he was doing coaching stuff there. I'm delighted for him. I think I don't think he'll ever be a Celtic manager, but I just think,
no.
This is a big stepping stone. This is kind of, let's get Hibs to 3rd place in the league, and let's get a semi-final or a cup final out, and then they'll be happy.
Yeah. I think I had to laugh. It was I seen a tweet today from somebody at Celtic First. He says, with Daisen Maida, imminent, and Rio Hatate and Yusuke Ideguchi on the horizon, I'm thinking a lot about my dad today. He's not dead, he'll just murder the pronunciation. I just thought that just buckled me, honestly. And he's just put #Kyogi. Because the amount of people I've heard that cannot pronounce Kyogo's surname.
For I couldn't pronounce it. I was calling for Shari.
Aye. But I'm talking about people that can't even pronounce Kyogo properly. I've heard them getting called Kigo and Kaigo, and it's just absolutely like, what? How hard is it? Do you know, it's Kyogo.
It just sounds like one of the. Sounds like Alexa trying to act up. That's what it sounds like.
But somebody replied as well underneath it. My uncle still can't say Postecoglou. He calls him Postecoglou. It's just honestly, it's. But listen, we're on a better position. We're over 6 points behind in the league. Scottish Cup still to play against Barry Ferguson's Alloa in January, and obviously, we've already got a trophy in the cabinet, which is a massive confidence boost. I just think the whole feel around the club going forward into 2022
I think
huge.
I just think if the players want to look back at the 4-6 months on the Ange, what they need to look back is there's two things they need to look back at: the club success. Don't worry about the wins. Don't worry about the Ross counties or this and that. You need to look back and say, well, shit, I don't want to be in that St. Mirren result again. Oh, shit, I don't want that Livingston result again. Have that fear in their heads. Have that fear. Have that belief. They're going to say, right, fuck this. And you're talking about beating Livy 6-0 last season. Go out and do that against them.
Yeah.
That's what they need, because I don't know. Like, I'm not getting excited. I haven't been this confident in a long time. I just feel with them 3 transfers and Julian coming back, this is a big thing. Jamesy, I just feel like James is going to come back. He's going to go back on the stretcher again.
Do you think he's just going to become a squad player? Do you think he's just going to be a squad rotation player? But he's going to come on now and again, and because for me, Abada is I think Abada, when he's in form, is a fantastic player.
Yeah, Abada's
for me,
better in the centre.
He's only 19. He's only 19. As we've seen against St Johnstone there, I think he's better through the centre. Whether he's playing up top or whether he's playing in behind, playing maybe in Turnbull's position. Obviously, Turnbull's out for 2 months, so he could play in there.
What I'd say is, look, I know Ange won't change his style, but what you could do is you could have Beaton. You could have, say, if Turnbull's fit, Beaton, McGregor, and Rogic, kind of like a diamond. And then instead of having the wingers, have 2 strikers, have a Kawhigo and have a Abada, just straight up the top. Give it a go.
Yeah.
Give it a go. Like the 2 boys that do decent in the middle, put the 2 of them in there and see what happens.
I just think
if Yota's not playing.
Yeah, I just think in 2022 the key is to keep those front 3 fit and healthy. You keep Abada, Jota, and Kyogo fit and healthy. And I know the Japanese boys are coming in. Hatate at left back. I think Deguchi's a midfielder, if I'm right in saying.
Defensive midfielder.
And obviously, help me out as well.
Rio Hate, Daisy Maida, and Deguchi.
Maida, yeah, he's going to be Kyogo's pal up front, isn't he? Really? Just totally slipped my mind.
Kyogo's older, but he looks like his older brother.
Yeah, exactly. So as I say, listen, we're in a great position. The fans are loving it. We'll hopefully get the fans back in soon.
Just imagine how Kyogo's feeling. And I'm sure he knew a few days ago this was going to happen. I'm sure Kyogo's a big part of how these boys got over here, because they're saying you talked about. You look at when Nakamura side Celtic.net had a Japanese art. Yeah. And I was looking back at that Japanese documentary. Remember when we beat Killy and there was that Japanese journalist in Bard's bar, and he's going around jumping around the stairs. That's what's got it. Like, Celtic don't realise this is a massive marketing. Like, getting 4 Japanese boys in. Like, now, the 3 boys might not be up to the standard we're expecting. Ideguchi, I think he's going to come back to Europe in class. He's just never got a chance at Leeds. I've a few people's Leeds fans like, look, don't get your hopes up. He's not great, but like, he never really got a chance. He went to Bundesliga 2, played a few games there. Daisy Maida played in Portugal, had a few. I think he played 19 games in Portugal, scored a couple of goals. But I don't know. I just have that feel like, this is like, you're going to a club and there's a lad there already that came in the summer, and you're looking around. If the fans are back and you see all these Japanese flags in Celtic Park, how would you feel?
It just makes you feel so comfortable.
How would you feel? Like, it's a family club, and Ange just said this. Like, this is not just that. Celtic Football Club is not just a club about what hobbies are going on. It's a generation upon generation that this club is built from. You've got 4 generations in one household that go to these games, that live and try for it. And when I found out he went to the Tommy Burns night, I was like, oh my God, man, this man is serious. He is taking everything in, like.
Yeah.
So
As
even
I
when he
say,
talked
like,
about Bertie Ault.
yeah, absolutely. And it didn't feel as if it was scripted. It didn't feel like he was just making it up. It felt like he genuinely known the guy for years. So I think he just puts his heart and soul into everything, and genuinely hope that he gets his rewards at the end of the season. We're going to finish on a.
Do you think I live on another planet, mate? Of course, I heard of Walter Smith. I don't live on another planet. Like stuff like that.
I thought it was class. I thought it was so disrespectful with the journalist that asked him it, and I thought it was absolutely class reply. He just shot him down in flames. Absolutely.
I didn't get to watch it now.
I
heard it was phenomenal documentary last night.
Yeah, but I've got it recorded. I think it will be pretty good. I so finished on the second half of the quiz, the 2021 Celtic quiz. So we'll go question 5. I've done that. Question 6. Who did we face in our first European game under Ange?
Midtjylland.
Yeah. But do you know why? Because for some reason I actually got that one wrong. I thought it was Jablonec.
No, that's your.
I think it was Midtjylland. I think it was Midtjylland in the Champions League qualifier.
Yeah.
And then we fell into the Europa League qualifier. Yeah. So who scored our first league goal of the season?
Anthony Ralston.
Correct. Who was the first team to score at Celtic Park against us?
In all competitions?
Then this season. In the league, sorry.
In the league?
Yeah.
Oof. In the league? I think Dundee United.
Yeah. One each draw.
Yeah.
Which side did Celtic women's team beat in the Scottish League Cup final?
Glasgow City.
Yeah, 1-0.
It was Hazy scored.
Yeah, Caitlin Hayes, brilliant header. I was there that day.
You at the final?
I was at the final, yeah. Went live at the final whistle. Got most of the players and got the manager in.
I'm delighted for Kelly. I'm delighted for obviously your mate Fran, the gaffer. The gaffer, imagine like as leaves tomorrow, everybody be calling for Fran to take the job at the end of the season. Like that's a crazy is like people would rather Fran Alonso probably than John Kennedy.
Yeah. I think he just looks like a manager. I think he looks like he's got a calming influence about him that you kind of believe, even if he's not a good manager. I think he makes you believe he's a good manager. That he's got that kind of influence about him. Who was the youngest player to have featured for the club this season?
For the club this season?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Dawson? I think
there's no much in it between a couple of them.
I think what's his name? Jesus, the young fella, the centre back.
I'll be surprised when you get this.
He was centre back. He played against Midtjylland. Dane Murray.
Well done. That's some shout. Dane Murray. I'm thinking he was. I think he was 18 in June. He just turned 18 in June, so he was 17 when he faced Hearts at Tynecastle. So yeah, it was. As I say, I think it was a decent performance by yourself in a quiz. But no, as I say, like just going forward to finish off. You confident then that we're going to, forget about any possible trebles or even quadruples, Conference League, here they come. Booked my flights for Tirana in May.
Albania, isn't it?
Aye, yeah, I know, of all places. I think the Albanian president's a massive Celtic fan, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, I met him at the game. I met him at the Werner Vars game. He was actually outside.
He's nuts, absolutely nuts. But Yeah, as I say, so forgetting about any possible trebles. Obviously, the league's your bread and butter. We're going to win the league in 2022.
Yeah, we are going to win the league, and I think we're just going to win it by the skin of our teeth. I just think that they're going to keep getting results. I think this derby is probably the biggest derby we've played, and I'd say since the first time they came back up.
Yeah,
I really believe. I just think
that's a fair shout. That's a fair shout.
I know we were dominant for years upon years, and they've been dominant in the league since 2019. And
Yeah,
but look, I just believe that. I just think we need if Ange wants to win the big games as a big manager, he needs to beat them. He
yeah,
needs to give them the shock and like, oh shit, they took 3 points off us. It's only 3 points in it. If it is 3 points in it, they'll panic. And
hmm
we'll have the belief after coming off a cup win, have the belief like if we can keep beat on defensive midfield, we have to see what Ideguchi's like. If we can keep
yeah,
Callum fit, you can keep, as you said, the top three for it, the front three for it, and we keep Julian fit and Joe Hart barking out the orders. Why not? Why not?
yeah,
I'll tell you one thing we've learned from where the last season is set pieces. We've given away great if a few teams have scored the odd set piece against us, not as it was. But I just think we've massively learned from that mistake, set pieces, not to give away. And you obviously Hart scored against us at the start of the season, John Suter. But
yeah.
I feel that I think we might get another goalkeeper. I think Hazard might go on loan. Bain will
hmm
stay there. I think Barkas will go on loan, option to buy. That's
Yeah,
the plan. I won't be surprised we go on the Asian market and buy a keeper, to be honest, as a replacement. Because look, at Joe Hart's only a 2-year deal.
yeah,
Let's see how we get on with Joe Hart. I still feel that we need another right back, even though we have Ralston in there and Jovanovic. I just feel one of them is going to pull an injury. Touch wood, he don't.
yeah,
Left back, I'm
yeah.
comfortable with because we have Montgomery, we
Taylor,
have
Hatate.
Taylor, Hatate, Liam Scales. I think left back is, and you could even have Bolingoli that'll do the
Bolingoli.
job. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you're looking at, we bought Bolingoli, Barkas, Ieti, and Sorrow for the equivalent of 14.5 million. If we could even get
hmm
back 7 million on these four, I'd be happy with that.
yeah, yeah. And
You know,
I think going forward, I think get the Jota deal done, get that over the line, whether it's January or whether it's the summer.
it's
Same
like
with
Paddy
Carter
Roberts
Vickers.
it's like Paddy Roberts all over again. You can't let this go. Just sign it and get it over and done with.
Yeah, I think potentially, if you can get the pair of them for say 10 million, I think it's a fantastic business.
I don't think we'll get Carter Vickers for less than 6 million. They're saying 2.53, but they want add-ons on top of that. We're looking at about
Yeah,
6. So I can't see it being like if you get it for 5 million, happy days. You know,
yeah,
I want to see him. I want to see him obviously play with Julian first. There's no point in them
hmm
signing a permanent and he can't settle with Julian. So we
yeah,
have until the end of the season to get that over the line. There's no one really sniffing at Carter Vickers, which is an advantage for us. And if there's anyone sniffing at Carter Vickers, it'd be a championship team. It won't be Premier League team.
yeah, yeah.
So I
Um,
think that's the benefit of Carter Vickers. Jota, we need to get this done because I think if Jota comes back and he keeps scoring and have man and match performances, Benfica will be putting their eyebrows up and saying, you know what, maybe he actually can be a part of our team next season.
yeah, yeah,
Because
absolutely. I think we need to get a job. Aye, I think we need to get them
Portuguese
done
teams
in
are
January.
notorious for selling their players for big
Yeah,
bucks.
aye. I think we need to get them done in January, and I think Celtic seem to be pretty keen to get the deal done in January for Carter Vickers and Jota. I think Ange came out the other day and said something about it. And so
Well,
listen,
that's five
Celtic mean
players in.
business.
Five players in, but we're still saying, do you know what? We still need more troops.
Yeah, yeah, and listen, I think there will be players that will go, whether it's permanently or whether it's on loan. I think players are going to go in January to make way in the squad for the
Mm-hmm.
players that's coming in. It's just very, very it's quite unnerving that we're sitting here, not even in January yet, few hours left, and yet we've signed 3 players today, with potentially more to come. I'm
just
really,
hoping it's
really exciting, but it's
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 a
really
gamble.
exciting, but it's
It's a
aye,
it's a gamble because we're not familiar with these players. Like Hyogo was a gamble, but you got to take the chance. I believe Days made it. It was a good deal to kind of give him a 6 months loan probation to see how he gets on, and if he doesn't come good, he goes back. But I think he will. Like, look, for God's sake, Kyogo's there. He knows Kyogo from the national team. These boys have been around the national team, so they know each other. It's not like
yeah.
So
I remember seeing something on social media today as well that just somebody put on. You can just imagine Kyogo picking up the Japanese boys to go to training, and they're blasting Charlie and the boys in the car when they're way to training. just got this image in my head. It's just like, aye. So as I say, like we'll leave it there. Time's ticking on, and obviously, it is Hogmanay, which is probably why the viewers haven't been as much as I would have liked. But yeah, it was great to do a season review or a yearly review rather, 2021. It has been a crap year for everybody, not just in football. But hopefully 2022 is better for everybody, and obviously better for Celtic because hopefully we'll be playing Champions League football next season.
fingers crossed. Let's just get the fans back in the stadium first of all, guys. Don't be thinking of Champions League football. Let's just get the basic things right. Let's get the story to convince ourselves that the fans should be in the stadium in some capacity.
Exactly. So as I say, just check us out on all of the socials: YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, maybe TikTok in 2022. Who knows? I know Keith's big on TikTok. I just don't get it. So thanks to 67Ts again for the sponsorship. You check Paul out and the guys over there in their social media pages and download our podcast. There's some great episodes on there, and obviously I'm going to rebrand the podcast for the interview parts and try and separate it so I can get more people on. Keith, listen, have a good night, whatever you're doing, wherever you're going.
Taking it easy. It's 8 o'clock shutdowns over here. You're lucky to have 10 o'clock.
Is it still late? Oh Jesus, that's
So I think I'll sit in the house and just have a few of the stouts and take it easy.
Get Jackie Bird on. Oh no, Jackie Bird doesn't do anymore. I was going to say get Jackie Bird on the telly, but she doesn't do Hogmanay anymore. So that's brutal that it's 8 o'clock.
I'm just hoping this time next year I'll be chatting to you saying, Jesus, that was watching the first part of 2022. It was great to win the title.
Aye, exactly.
You know yourself. We won't be asking for that physical trophy back. We don't want that physical trophy back. It's contaminated.
Yeah.
We need a new trophy.
We want a new one.
That's it. We need a new trophy, and then let's see what happens. And hopefully the likes of Tom Rogic will be screaming when he lifts it, and Beaton, like players like that just at their careers are just boosted to come back out of hell. So let's go. But thanks very much for having me on, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.
No worries, mate. Enjoy your night anyway.
Cheers. Take care.
Cheers, mate.